Content over everything.
Content over everything. It's Captain Scarlet here from Scattered Minds. I'm here with Rashid, who is the black minority ethnic representative for the Green Party, or was at one point.
No, I'm still there.
Still there, cool. And we're going to be discussing basically this event right now, Blagsit. What do you mean? What do you understand by Dean Okai's meaning of Blagsit?
Well, who do I look at? Look at you. Look at the camera.
Me.
Look at. Okay, sorry. Right. Blagsit. Well, Dean's right there. Yeah. So maybe you should ask Dean.
What do you take from it, though?
What I take from it? Yeah. I take from it whatever happens come March the 29th, how we as a community will be affected by it. That's what I see as being Blagsit. Yeah. And we're in a bad place. We're not prepared for it. We're not aware of it. It's like the Titanic has been hit by an iceberg, and we're those people that are still dancing.
What do you think the effects are going to be for our community in particular, then, from Brexit per se?
Well, what you find is no matter what happens in this country, whenever the economy goes down, racism increases. Yeah. And so for us as a community, we have to understand that things are going to get tight for us, you know. And what Brexit has done, the actual vote itself, people voting to leave the EU, it has emboldened a certain section of white society. So now racism has now become acceptable again. You know, the other day there was a football match. Was it Everton played Millwall just down in South London, and them boys was out on the streets tearing each other up like it was the 1980s. And then there was a little video of a little Millwall supporter. The boy was about 2 or 3 years old, racist to the core, being egged on by his parents. And you think, yo, it's 2019, son. We got Stormzy in the charts and whatever. You got it? All right, my sister. You know? And you start to realize that this stuff is coming, it's becoming more acceptable. Yeah? And I don't think we're prepared for it, because when it hits properly.
So what do you think about like events like this, and how much do you think these can actually help to prepare us for that eventuality?
I think anything that brings people together, where they can exchange information and ideas, has to be a positive thing. But obviously, once the talking's done, there has to come the action.
And what do you personally hope to get out of this, or hope to contribute to this sort of event?
Well, Dean invited me down here today to speak about politics and the art of politics, because you might get a lot of people who talk about politics, but ain't no mofos doing politics. I stood for election 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017 in this constituency to represent the people of Brixton. And when you see how our people are very reluctant to get into politics, not realizing that everything we do is political. Politics is only the art of getting things done. There was a previous speaker who he's very wordy, and you know, I'm like, yo, I'm thinking to myself, yo, bro, make it simple. We got children in here. Make it simple. As Malcolm X said, make it plain. And to make it plain, politics is the art of getting things done. And right now, as a community, apart from inflicting pain upon each other, we ain't really getting much done. Do you understand what I'm saying?
100. So you have experience, like you say, you've actually done politics for a lot of people. Myself, went to university, I studied it. I have worked around Parliament, in Parliament, but not directly in politics per se, in any position. How long have you been working in politics, and in your particular position that you're in right now?
Okay, so what happened with me, I got into politics kind of by default. It was like a community calling. I made a film called Why Don't Black People Vote? I'm actually a filmmaker. And the film looks at the low voter turnout in black communities, right? And one of the things that came out of the film was that the people said there's no one for us to vote for. No one understands us. They talk down to us. They haven't come out of the struggle with us, but whatever reason they give. And so elections were coming up, and all the cats that were in the film, that I interviewed as part of the film, I called them up, because I wanted to make part 2 of my film. That's what I wanted. Remember, I'm a filmmaker. And all the man that was in the film, I called them all up. I said, yo, big man, elections come up, you're standing. Nobody would stand. And I thought, you know what? If no one stands, then I got to stand.
Why do you think that is then? Why do you think our community in particular are so afraid or so reluctant to go and stand or get involved in Westminster politics?
Because we're scared.
What are we scared of?
Scared of ourselves.
Oh, do you not think we're afraid of the system itself?
Yeah, but we're scared of ourselves. Because the reason why I say that is because when you see how we act when we're not afraid, the stuff that we do, when we, Garvey said you will never know yourself till your back is against the wall, which means you reach that point where you're like, you know what, I'm swinging. And I might even land a couple blows. And then when you land a couple, you're like, right, okay, I got a little
space.
I got a little
space to maneuver.
Yeah? But you've got to be in that position where you're like, you know what, there's nothing else left. There's no more fear.
Do you think the system keeps us just away from that position? So we always feel like our back's not to the wall yet, so we don't have to start fighting. We can just get on with the system as it goes. We don't have to vote, we don't have to partake.
Well,
just get our heads down, work, and just ignore everything else.
I think the mental trick, what they've played, not only on the black community, but also the wider community as well, is that they've taken this idea of politics and they've made it all kind of esoteric, and you've got to be middle class, white, sit down on the seat with Andrew Neil, and you talk a certain language. Right. The other day I'm with my son, he's like 7 years old, and he rolls with me when I go to events because I ain't got a childminder, so he just comes and sees his dad talking to like hundreds of people. So he might be at the back doing his thing, but he knows, all right, my dad's someone. When it came down to standing for school council at his school, my man gets elected. The other person who got elected is a young lady whose family, Asian family, I know, is a political family. And it's like, okay, so our children
set the trends.
They follow whatever we lay down.
Definitely, yeah.
If they see us act a certain way, they're like, well, that's what my dad does, so that's what I'm going to do. If they see their dad acting a certain way or their mother doing a certain thing, right, so we just follow. So my point is, in a long-winded way, is that if we don't challenge the fear that we have, you know that poem that Nelson Mandela read on his election? Our deepest fear is not that we are weak. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful, powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness that we're afraid of. We need to teach that to our children because they don't realize how they can change this game. Right now, West Indies, I'm a cricket man.
Okay, cool.
I play in England. Right now, as we speak.
Yeah, they're doing well this time around.
Right. England, population, 65 million people. They invented the game of cricket. Ranked number 2 in the world, supposedly. West Indies, a collection of islands down in the Caribbean, supposedly third world. Population combined, I don't know, nah, brother.
20?
Brother, the population of Barbados.
When you say West Indies, you're talking about the English-speaking West
I'm talking about
Indies,
English.
not Cuba and
No, I'm talking about the ones who play cricket.
Yeah, cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Half the team
100%.
is from Barbados.
Yeah.
The population of Barbados is smaller than the population of Lambeth.
Of course, yeah. Mad.
That's half the team. From Barbados. A few islands together, England have gone down there like, yeah, we're going to wipe these boys. And men are like, really?
Yeah.
Game on. Boom. Battered England. It's in the mind, brother.
100. Like Garvey said, confidence.
It's in the mind.
And I think politically, a lot of us lack confidence, and so we've already started losing. I think they're gonna.
Yeah, nice, cool.
2 minutes. Alright, cool. So I just wanted to get last thing quickly.
Sure.
How's your experience been within the Green Party as somebody working actively in politics and as a black person working through the system, working? What many people see the Green Party as a middle class sort of white.
It's 100% middle class white party. However, when you look at the policies. And I'm not interested in I'm interested in policies.
Yeah, for sure.
The policies are the only policies, they're the only party that talks about reparations for slavery. Yeah? All right. That's what you're talking about. They're the only party that talks about changing the terms of trade between the so-called third world nations. Yeah? Middle class white? Cricket was a middle class white man's game.
Yeah, for sure. Come. All right, cool. I think we'll wrap it up there. I hope we'll catch you in a little bit. We're going to go back to the rest of the live stream. But yeah. Rashid, Green Party,
Captain Scarlet.
Captain Scarlet, that's me. Yeah.
I used to love Captain Scarlet when I was a youth. You know,
not a lot of people understand that, but
Captain Scarlet was dark,
OG.
man.
It's bad, man. Trust me. Watch Captain Scarlet if you ain't watched
Captain
it yet.
Black?
Captain, that's that. proper things. But
and the Angels.
Things.
And the Mysterons.
Running things. Look at that.
Yeah, no, that was my program.
I'm gonna bring it back still.
That was my program.
Captain Scarlet.
I was sitting down with my son watching it, and my son was like, "Dad, This is
Yeah,
frightening.
he watched the puppet thing.
This is frightening,
It'll
Daddy.
take a little time for him to get into that one, yeah, for sure,
I said,
man.
yo, we grew up on this stuff. Listen, man, keep it up.
100%, man. It's been good talking to you, brother. Bless, man.
Content over everything. From your melody.
Man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. Listen.
COE.
Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. I don't even listen to Sky Magic. I just listen to COE. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. I don't even listen to Sky Magic. Man, just listen to COE. Man, just listen to COE. Man, just listen to COE. If you see me in COE, put it over everything. COE.
Man, not even know BBC. Man, not even know ITV. Not even listen to the MUM. They just listen to COE.